Hey everyone, Jay again here from Neat. We're looking at the new software release. This is the third release of 2025. It's called 25.3. It's the third release of the year and it's got loads of new features. So the first one we're going to look at is all around the Neat Center. I think some people have seen a preview of this, but now it's available in beta for everyone to try out. It's called Neat Focus. Now that brings all sorts of different scenarios. Predominantly, it's what people have been asking, can we have a presenter camera? So we can set that up. We can do a VIP, or we can show everyone that's around the table, but then do an over the room context for everyone in the space. And we'll show you how all that works. So first, I've got here a Neat Center, and I've actually put this on a tripod in front of here. Realistically, you probably have this on a lectern or on a table or suspended from the ceiling or a nice plinth or something like that. But hey, it's nice to show that even in flexible spaces, we can do something like this. And I've got it so it's pointing as me, and this is my presenter area I've defined, and we'll show you how this gets set up. But first, we want to start up a meeting. So this is just paired to this BYOD Pro, and we're running Microsoft Teams here, and we'll see it's showing the room context shots. And I've set it up so if I stand here as the presenter in the presenter location, we get this nice two-shot, right? So this two-shot is following me as a presenter, or if multiple presenters are here, it'll follow them. I can walk around and you'll see that the camera's actually kind of like following me around the space and things like that. I can then stand out of that space as one of the attendees or something, and you'll see it'll go to that nice wide shot as well. We can even set up things to happen within the channel from the front of room device. So you'll see here, we've got our individual framing, and Ryan's here with Adele and Ted. They're on the other side of the room. But look, it's not picking me up either. How's that happening? And we'll show you how we've set all this up. So let's go out of here and let's go into our system settings. So you guys come over here with me and we'll show you what these new options are. So within the menu, we now have within audio and video, our new camera selection tool, okay? So it's set as custom at the moment. I'm going to put in my secure password. Normally, we'll have automatic selected. Automatic is how most people know that the Neat Center works. You set your boundary for the Neat Center and the front of room device, and it'll be using either the center mics or the front of room device, right? Cutting in between depending on where people are looking. Let's put it on custom. And you'll see here that we've selected the Neat BYOD Pro and the Neat Center. So the Neat BYOD Pro could be selected on its own, so we only use the center mics, or we can use a combination. So we can use the center cameras and the BYOD Pro cameras, and if people are in there, you get that two shots. In this scenario, we want to set up one of the lenses on the center as a presenter. So I can select camera A, it will come up with that video stream. That's actually the right lens. And the way that we know it's the right lens is, can you see here on the Neat Center, we even light up the rings there at the front. I'm going to quickly select another lens while you're looking at that. Let's go camera B, it's looking that direction, and you can see there on the Neat Center, it's swapped over. So let's go to camera A again, which is what we wanted. I'm then going to get even more clever with setting up that area. We have in here the tool called Framing Boundary. And you'll see in here now, there's some changes to this menu if you're familiar with how the boundary works. We have our Neat BYOD Pro, and it's selecting everybody that's in sight on there with the green or red. And you'll see we have a new restriction. So you can now say, I don't want the camera at the front of the room to pick up people within that area right at the front of room device. So I've done that. I've reduced the depth for this kind of presenter area, as it were, here. Then we go to the Neat Center, and can you see here, you might have to step just to the side, Ryan. You can see here, we have basically a darker area and a lighter area, because that's the area that we want to use from that lens we selected. So we can widen that field of view. As you can see, it's getting wider and wider. We can even reduce the depth of that, so we can bring it right down. So I'm now out of that field of view of the depth of that camera. We can even bring the depth so that if you're too close to the center, it won't frame you as well. Really, really easy to set this up. You set this up before your meeting, or you set it just as a room and done. And the beauty is, you could just use this as a normal meeting room most of the time, right? It'll just use that front of shot view. Once that front of shot view is in use, that's absolutely fine. But if somebody then stands up to talk to the room, no one has to press a button. You will just go straight to this two shot here. Well, I'll be framed nicely on that front. Let me stand back here, and I'll go back to the out of that area, and then it's just being used as a normal meeting room camera as well. So that is Neat Focus. Great for different setups of the room, presenter camera, and also VIPs at the top of the table or something like that. The next feature we've got is a improvement to do with speaker tracking, where it's all working with the Neat Center here. So first, bit of context where we are in the room. Ryan's at the back there holding my phone as well for me. So we've got here the Neat Center, and we've got a Bar Pro that we're talking to you guys through as well. This is the wide shot manual framing. You can go up, down, left, right, but the most important thing is here, let's improve on that. Let's put it on group framing. So if we turn that on here, you can see me here, Ryan over there, and kind of use those varying degrees and people brought in there. But Neat are famous for neat symmetry, so we'll enable that. And the best thing is we've got me at the front there, we've got Ryan, shoulder to shoulder, and the more people are added in, we've got meeting equity. You see Ryan's much further back of the room, I'm right at the front here, but the idea is here we've got some good shoulder to shoulder meeting equity. But now we can enable speaker track. And what that does is it looks around the room and looks who's the main contributor or the main two contributors to the meeting at the time. And it does that shot. So you're looking at me, that's why I'm talking. But because we've now got a Neat Center in the room, I can actually turn around and I'm looking at Ryan, and you can see that we've got the microphones still pointing at my mouth this way, and we've got the camera as well. But when people at the end of the call remind me that they're still there, I can say, sorry, what did he say? And it's all live. And the advantage is as well, when the sensor's kicked in, I can even get up, and I can even stand with my back to the camera, and I can address everyone in the room and be looking at that. So how do you think this is going to get used, Ryan?
I love the fact that it basically frees you from the table, from the desk, from your laptop in the room. So since COVID, we've all been very used to having to sit at the desk and face the camera at the front of the room. And it kind of maybe stilted a little bit of the energy or the engagement within that meeting space. So now with these multiple camera angles, with the multiple microphones, we're able to really make the use of that meeting space and increase engagement, not only in the room, but for the people at the far end as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I really like the fact that we're looking across the room to each other.
Yeah.
So you get that kind of direct engagement with the Neat Center. That's all kicked in nicely. Again, if we're talking on top of each other, you get like a bit of a two shot and things. And
yeah.
When I remember speaking to these guys at the front of the room, you're still there, and it's going to cut.
Absolutely. They feel part of the discussion. Once you have 3 or more people in a room, the conversation can happen far more quickly, far more naturally within this meeting space. But the people at the far end now feel like they're in the room and they're no longer maybe a second row citizen trying to view into the space and the conversation.
Definitely. So this is working with a single Neat Center now today with any of our boards or bars at the front of the room, and you can just turn on speaker track as either during a meeting or as your default setting now within Zoom or Teams or anything like that, and it's working nicely. The next thing is that the Neat Bar Gen 2 is now available to order on its own without a pad to be used as a BYOD device. That means when you get it, you plug it into a screen and you connect a single USB-C cable. Now that USB-C cable gets used to connect to your laptop and add it to the Wi-Fi or add proxy certificates, whatever it is you want to do, which means not only does this get used as a BYOD device, so the cameras, speakers, microphones and everything to a laptop and on screen, it also means it's fully managed with a Neat Pulse. So you can change all the camera settings, the framing, your default camera settings and all that good stuff, and software updates too. The last thing to talk about today is audio improvements. Now, of course, Neat devices always have audio and video improvements over time when we do our software releases every 2 months or so. But the Neat Center and the Neat Bar Pro both have a 16 microphone array. This array in both devices have had lots of tuning, which means great improvements in more difficult sounding spaces, people that are talking on top of each other and things like that, and the way it dynamically moves within the space between the two devices. So make sure you get up to date and then testing these devices in rooms. And don't forget as well, you can also add in those big long rooms a Neat pad at the very top of the table. So that's a run through of everything in 25.3. So that's Neat Focus, which can be the presenter or VIP view. That's the speaker focus. That is also the Neat Bar Generation 2, now available as BYOD without a pad on its own, and also all the improvements in audio for the Neat Center and the Neat Bar Pro. So if you've got any questions at all, just come to us. I'm part of the product specialist team. You've got all of your local sales teams. But also just to note for Microsoft users, there is an AOSP version of this build, which is available in Teams Admin Center. So please get going with that before we run all versions of software on Teams Admin Center and Pulse and our over-the-air channels and everything like that. So thanks very much.